Alright, I'm going to make a windscreen for my camping pot. I have the this GSI MicroDualist pot. Comes with actually a bunch of stuff. Let me get it open here. The bag is waterproof, so you can use it to hold water, liquids. Alright, it comes with 2 cups, 2 sports, the lid, of course. These lids actually clip on pretty good. They're nice and sturdy. This also comes apart, which is handy, so you can turn each cup into 2 bowls. But what I'm going to do is eliminate one of the cups from the set, save it for if I need it. So this will pretty much be my set if I have to pull 2 cups apart. So I'm going to have a cup at the bottom, my little penny stove that's made of either beer cans or soda cans, and my windscreen. When we're done, we'll all pack away neatly inside my pot. So what I had to purchase to make this windscreen, I got a roll of 6-inch aluminum flashing from Home Depot. Go to any one of your hardware stores, I'm sure you'll find something. Cost about $6. I forget how many feet it was, maybe 25, 30 feet. I already pre-cut a slice here. It's about 20 inches long I'm going to start with. The other thing I got, which you can use your own judgment here, I bought a piece of 16th inch by 3/4 inch aluminum angle bar to make these small aluminum L brackets. I personally couldn't find small aluminum L brackets in the store, so I opted to make my own. If you don't want to make your own brackets, you can probably buy galvanized or something, but I wanted something ultra lightweight that would not rust, and that was cheap. So for $2.39 I got 36 inches of it. I could probably make a lot of L brackets. So I'm not going to show you how to make the L brackets, or I'm not going to actually do the L brackets, but I just marked on a miter box. I think mine are 3/8 of an inch thick, and just sliced 8 of them off for this. Cleaned them up with a Dremel, punched 2 holes in them, and these will be riveted to the windscreen to support the pot and the windscreen itself. So all in all, you want 8 L brackets that look relatively like that. That will not rust and can withstand heat. The other thing I purchased is these 8th inch aluminum pop rivets. If you don't have a rivet gun, they're not that expensive. You can use these for a bunch of things. So if you have a couple bucks, go get one. They're about $15. But if you don't have this, you can use small screws and bolts or nuts and bolts. That'll work just fine. But for fit and finish, this is going to be much better. So I'm going to go with that. So as I said, I'm going to start off with 20 inches. I may have to trim this down once I get so far, but 20 inches, and I'm going to make the body of it about 3 inches tall. So I got to pretty much cut this in half. I don't recommend using a scissors or even tin snips to slice it long ways. It'll get like a wave in it as it'll most likely get a wave in it as you cut through it. What I'm going to do is mark off my sections, and I'm going to score it with a blade and split it that way. Alright, my next step is to fold the sides over, because we're going to create an interlocking thing here so that this all stays together on its own without any hardware. So let this hang out about a ½ inch, 3/4 of an inch. And this is just a piece of flat aluminum I have laying around. this to my board. Just to try to prevent anything from sliding around. You can use a piece of wood or your fingers. I'm going to start with the wood and then work it afterwards. But I just want to fold this around. You want to fold it around something. You don't want to just fold it over and have a crease, because most likely if it doesn't snap right away, over time it'll just want to split, similar to how I scored the edge. I just want to roll it over. You can sort of pound it down a little bit or smash it down a little bit, as long as you're not putting a crease. That looks pretty good. When you're done, just be a rounded edge with that folded over. And then in a little bit, you'll do the same exact thing, reverse, on the other side, so that they slide together and interlock. But first we got to figure out how long this needs to be. Based on the pot you're making it for, this will always be a custom measurement. So I'm thinking I want about a 1/2 inch gap all the way around my pot. Check it now, because that looks good to me. Alright, so next step is attaching these little legs. The placement of these so that they fit in your pot and your lid goes back on your pot is kind of important. So what I do is I start with my leg closest to either end. I like the end that has the inside curl. So I start by drilling the hole. Since these things are not made by a machine, none of these holes are in the exact same position on any of them. They're close, but they're not exact. So what you want to do is whatever one you use to drill the holes, like if I use this one to drill these holes, this is the bracket that's going to be in this spot. And each one, don't just try to go quick and just punch a bunch of holes in here with the same bracket. Once you get through it, they're not going to line up quite right. It'll work, but it won't line up quite right. And I would say, now what I did is I folded this over. The feet aren't going to stick out that way. They're actually going to be in this way. But I folded it over because I kind of want that little gap all the way around the bottom, just because I do. Okay, had a brief intermission there. I kind of made a mistake, but it was easily fixable by reversing it. What I did is, when these two things slid together, this outside curve would have wanted to naturally press against the pot, and I'm trying to also reduce damaging my pot. So by just making sure that your main foot that you started with begins with the outside curl, because this will ultimately be inside. This curl is also curling inside, and that way there's just less sticking out to rub against your pot. So I just flipped it around where this was actually going to be the outside. Now this is going to be the outside. So it's kind of going against the natural curve of the metal, which might be better because it's helping it want to spring open. And after you burn these one time, the heat alone sort of makes it want to stay in this form. It won't want to spring out flat anymore. But it needs to be used at least once before that happens. So we're back to our 12 o'clock and 3 o'clock, and I just got to put a 6 and a 9 in here. Okay, so the height of these will also depend on the vessel you use for your penny stove. My penny stoves are about 2 inches tall, so I have this set to about 2 1/4 inches, so that the pot will sit 1/4 inch over this unit. Mark that right now. This way. And the easiest thing here, I would start with the same thing, the one all the way on the far end. And this is going to be your sort of reference one. Make sure you do the test. Now I'm sure that fits just fine. It's whether it fits in the pot. That is the question. Have it, so it will fit, so it's safe to continue. Okay. So you got your 4 feet on the bottom, got the 4 little feet that hold the pot up in the air, penny stove in the center, and there's your pot. So this little piece of block here where I put a little mark on it every 1/2 inch or thereabouts. I'm just going to use this as a guide to punch some holes in the bottom of my windscreen here. If you don't have one of these, you can use a ice pick, a nail, little hammer. But I'm just putting these divots so I know where I'm going to drill my holes. We're ready to try this baby out. Let me clean up and get set up and see how it works.